Hello, this is Dave Wise. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're looking at a 1969 Plymouth Hemi Roadrunner 4-speed with a Dana 354. This is a gorgeous car. I would call it a semi-survivor. It's had one repaint. There's probably over 90% of the parts and pieces on the car are still original. This is the air cleaner, still original. You can see there was a little touch up there. Paint's original, decals original. The air filter sticker is original. So we're going to set this aside and take a look at the car in a little more detail. So let's start out with the body clip plate. As you can see, it's RM23 E74, the Hemi, the D21. Scheduled production date is January 18th. And you see the order number 281340. And the second line, the color FM3, M6X, and certainly X9 for the interior. Then you have 1X for the top, N96, C16, 26 for the radiator. Then you get into the engine, transmission, and axle. This being a Lynch Road car, at the top of the tag, this is your base and your gate. Those are the production series sequences for basically the production of the car. The next is the actual vehicle sequence number, the 210405. And to jump over to the other side, there is the VIN 1969A 210837. That's a consecutive VIN. And you notice the sequence number, which is to the left of it, 210405. That was the scheduled sequence number. Now we can look at the build sheet to see how it was broadcasted out, but when the assembly was first planned, that was the sequence that was going to be used, the 210405. So let's walk over to the build sheet to keep that number in mind, and let's see what the actual production sequence was. Broadcast sequence number was 210294. So occasionally you will see that number different. Depends on how the car gets broadcasted. And what that means is that when they schedule production, they give it the ideal position for the number of vehicles to be built that day. And as they manage their part supply, manage production, the sequence number could change. So it may start out with a sequence number of, again, 210294, and it might end up with 210194 or 220. It could be almost any combinations of numbers of where the vehicle would actually fall. So if you have one of these vehicles, a Lynch Road car, and your sequence number does not match your tag with your broadcast sheet, don't be alarmed. These are internal control measures, and I've seen many of them that have changed. So let's go back to the actual engine compartment. A few things, obviously service items have changed. The ignition coils changed, the cap, the wires, the horn is certainly original. You can see right at the bottom, there's the actual, where the date is for the horn is right there. It's like the horn relay has been changed from original. Washer bottle, I'm sure, was fragile and they changed it. Kind of a poor restoration on the alternator, but that is the original Hemi alternator. Proper date coded, correct. Intake manifold is correct. There's the part number for the front carburetor, and of course in the exact same position you can see there is the number for the rear carburetor. The choke tube is actually with the vehicle. The owner has it. We'll be installing that later today. There's the grommet for the shaker. There's the original ground cable. You can certainly see the factory rungs. And something else I want to point out, which I referred to the lynch road identification. These two dimples on the upper cowl are what signifies the second shift at lynch road assembly for the production of the body. So generally, when the lynch road cars, starting in about late '68, you start to see these appear to identify first shift, second shift. And on this side, you can see there's two dimples, a little closer together, but still signifies first shift, second shift. So as we're up in this area, something I want to point out, you know, it's very common, this, this, basically this dum-dum that's put here, that is on the process sheets. You'll see you'll see this here. And when you're trying to restore a car professionally, you should duplicate that. You get into the corner, you see the same thing, the seal or the dum-dum, some of it has gone away, but you can actually see fingerprints in that dum-dum from where it was laid in place. Manual steering car. Exhaust manifolds are original. The date codes are very, very clear. Core support, extremely nice. There is on the back of the core support, you can see the VIN number. Let me see if I can't make that a little clearer for you. Typical lynch road A9, and that's typically the position. Next to it, you can see some faint numbers. That's the dial-out stamp number. You see the arrow. The arrow is a positioning for the wire holder. We'll come around this side, you'll get a better view of it. So, when you're looking from this angle, you can see faintly where the VIN number is. The dial-out stamp number, which is, as I'm referring to, the DNA. You can see the arrow of where the vicinity should be for the wire holder, and of course that's across the car. You can see it there. You see it there. The air grabber is all original, air grabber assembly. Somebody has replaced the fasteners, but this is, correct, typical Hemi box for a power brake car. You can see the relief in the top of the box. You can always spot when it's for a Hemi because it has that relief. So this car, let's quickly just go through it. This will show you how clean the actual vehicle is. You can see right in line with the Hemi badge, the dial-out stamp number for this hood, SS21, extremely clean and clear. This car spent most of its life in Colorado, so it was a pleasure to look at this car and extrapolate all these dial-out stamps. So inside the vehicle, it's a well optioned car. It's got the light group, the console, buckets, factory tack, AM 8-track stereo, has the crossover box mounted to the top of the glove box. The seats are all original. As far as the carpet set goes, the rear carpet set is original. Front carpet set has been replaced. But in general, it's a great car. You don't see many 69 Hemi Roadrunner 4-speeds in this condition. Generally, they've been beat to death. So this one is a pleasure to look at. So what we've gone through, you know, our typical WISE validation report. This is an elite level inspection, going through the entire vehicle. You know, we annotate what we feel is meaningful on the vehicle. Then we get into our actual DNA sheet for the powertrain numbers, the VIN, the side cover, the case casting. Then we, you know, obviously get into the engine. You have your casting number, casting date. You have your serial number that's found on the bottom of the engine oil pan rail. In this case, the top pad, you'll typically see the WT for water test. You'll see other identification marks alerting the assembler when the block is produced. Could be oversized crank, undersized crank. It could be various manufacturing identification marks would be on the top pad in a 69. Then, of course, last but not least, you know, we go through our DNA sheet for identification. We're picking up the meaningful dial-out stamp numbers, location of the VIN tag, trim tag, the primary identification number, secondary identification number, which is located below the deck lid seal on the left-hand side, and then, of course, another dial-out stamp number on top of the core, on the front side of the core support. This is, again, show you how clean this vehicle is. You can see the clarity of the dial-out stamp numbers that are on the hood hinges. It's just a very clean car. This car is at Barrett-Jackson. This will sell on Friday of the Las Vegas auction. It'll be interesting to see what this vehicle brings, because it is an extremely clean vehicle. And it has great, you know, just great options on it. Pinch welds on this vehicle are some of the nicest pinch welds I've seen. It has tinted glass. Glass is in great condition. And while we're here, you know, it certainly has, you know, aftermarket front, and it has the original rear. The camera doesn't pick it up all that great, but I mean, you can definitely see the comparative of the front loop to the back loop. Again, it's playing tricks with the lens of the camera, so we can't quite show you what we'd like you to see, but trust me, it's a different loop, and it's very apparent that the loop is different. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch it. Hopefully you're a loyal subscriber by subscribing to the channel. You'll receive notification the day that we drop our videos. If you have any comments, please reach out to us. give you a good idea how the cables are connected at the back of the air grabber box. Again, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for other videos of this nature.